Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all keeping well. I normally say safe and well, I know, but I'm well aware that some people just can't keep themselves safe at the moment because of the horrific events going on in Israel and Gaza, and solidarity with all the innocent civilians impacted by this completely unnecessary conflict on all sides. I'm not going to talk about it, but it seems wrong not to at least acknowledge that it's happening as well. Just like the Ukraine thing. It's absolutely horrible what's in the news at the moment, I know, along with other things as well. It's not been a very cheerful news cycle lately. But there has been one bit of good news. On the day I'm filming this on Halloween, and it has been announced that the planned ticket office closures on the railways in England has been scrapped, which is lovely news. I mean, they'll get rid of them eventually, I'm sure, but for the time being, at least, they're going to stay in place, which is quite a relief for the disabled community and others. So that's good. I thought I'd mention that just because I mentioned it a few months back on here. So, yeah. I'm very pleased about that. But apart from all that kind of stuff, I hope that these posts and videos that I do continue to be a nice distraction from all that. And for me, this month has been relatively relaxing, really. I haven't been to any theatre shows, but I have been out to a couple of museums and sculpture trails. I also had my COVID booster, which is good because I'm a carer, so I'm eligible for that. And went to a retirement do, so very best wishes to Pauline if she has to be watching this. And I went out for a couple of little walks as well. But those last few little bits I haven't really got anything to say about. It's just the cultural stuff I'm going to mention here. And obviously there's a few bits on TV I'm going to mention as well. So it's not going to be the most epic post, but I hope you find it interesting as always. None of it's sponsored or gifted either, as usual. So yeah, I'm just going to crack on with it really, and I hope you enjoy it. So first of all, I revisited a couple of my favourite museums, the first being the V&A, the Victoria and Albert Museum. Haven't been there for a few years, amazingly. It was pre-pandemic when I last went there, I worked out, so it's long overdue to go back there because it's always a stunning place. It's not the most accessible, the steps in there are still unmarked, so I nearly fell down a short flight of them, and I got a bit lost trying to use their map because the room numbers aren't very easy to find, and it's a bit of a rabbit warren in there. But, it is a lovely place, and I did get my bearings, so I was fine. And the main reason I went was to have a look at their Reimagining Musicals gallery, which is open until the 4th of February next year. And it's all about musical theatre, as the name suggests. They've got some beautiful costumes in there from various shows and some posters and artwork and things, and yeah, it's just a nice variety of shows that they cover, some of which I know, like The Lion King, The Wizard of Oz, Wicked and The Rocky Horror Show are all represented. And there are also things I haven't seen, like Anne's Juliet, Moulin Rouge, West Side Story, Hello Dolly, Six, everybody's talking about Jamie, My Fair Lady, that kind of thing. I'd heard of everything that was in there, and there are one or two other musicals that I haven't seen that I would like to see at some point. So yeah, it was a nice variety. I enjoyed that. And that was attached to their permanent gallery called Theatre and Performance, which covers a wide variety of shows, not just musicals, but all sorts of other things that had a lot more things that I'd never heard of before and wouldn't be interested in seeing. But the costumes were still lovely to look at, and there was nice poster artwork and stuff like that. Of the things I did know, there were costumes from Matilda the Musical, which I have seen before. It's an amazing show, that. And there was a stormtrooper from Star Wars, Willy Wonka from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And there's also a few other little interesting bits and pieces in there as well, like a heraldry jacket worn by John Entwistle from The Who, a French poster for the band Madness, and a recreation of Kylie Minogue's dressing room from her Showgirl Homecoming tour, which isn't the sort of concert I'd go to see, but it was interesting to see it all recreated like that. It looked very nice. So yeah, again, there's a nice variety of stuff in there. There's something for everyone in that kind of exhibition if you like theatre. And then while I was in that section of the second floor, I also had a look through their photography centre gallery, which has got lots of lovely images of all sorts of different things, like Mount Vesuvius and women at war, and a huge kind of parking lot at the Ford headquarters where they've got loads of new cars all just lined up there, and someone trying to launch a glider, and all sorts of different bits and pieces. So an interesting variety of photos there. And there was also a tapestry gallery as well attached to that, which isn't quite as big in terms of how many artworks they got there, but some of the actual artworks themselves are gigantic, covering huge swathes of the wall. So that was quite impressive as well, the tapestries. So I had a nice good look around a few different exhibitions at the V&A. It was nice to look at that. There's still lots of other exhibitions in there I haven't seen yet, so I'm definitely going to have to go back there. And then I also went to the Science Museum for the second time this year. I have been back to that much more recently compared to the V&A. And this time I thought I'd go to the first floor and have a look at the Engineers Gallery in particular. And that's very interesting. It's obviously celebrating the achievements of engineers in various fields, particularly health, digital imaging, LED lighting, GPS, the internet, and other creative innovations are all showcased there. It's only scratching the surface of the kind of things that engineers have done. They've done countless amazing achievements, of course, but this was a nice kind of representation of some things that have been achieved. It was very interesting, and the great thing about the Science Museum as well is that I'm able to download large print guides from their website and look at them on my device as well. So it was nice to be be able to go through and look at the large print guide on my mobile as I went around. And there are also a few video screens in that exhibition as well, which have like animated representations of some of the different technologies to explain them to you, and also interviews with some of the engineers as well, who are very passionate about their work and explain some of it to you. So it's quite interesting to have a look at those. So yeah, it's a nice exhibition. There's quite a lot of items in there. And next to that is a technicians exhibition, which again celebrates various different careers. In particular, there's sections about people who create TV shows and films, and who provide power and energy to our homes, and people who make things more high tech in general. And there's people who provide assistance for healthcare and things like that. So again, a nice spread of careers. This one's more aimed at children though, so there's lots of interactive screens in there where you can take on tasks and play games and things to get a feel for what different careers are like. So I didn't spend too long in there, but it's worth mentioning that exhibition as well because they have an audio description trail, which I was quite impressed by. So there's lots of QR codes dotted around the exhibition, and you can scan those. And in each of the different sections, there's a pair of people who talk to you very enthusiastically about the job that they do. And there's also a touch object accompanied by audio description and a braille description as well. So you can kind of listen to your audio description while you're kind of feeling these different objects, like a big safety harness that wind turbine technicians use, or there's a PlayStation 2 that's been broken down to its component parts. So I was very impressed by that. It was very nice of them to make the exhibition accessible with audio description and braille, and there's British Sign Language on some of the video screens as well, I understand, and also there's a large print guide that I use too. So yeah, it's a nice exhibition that, and hopefully it does inspire some of the younger generation to take up those kind of careers, because there's plenty of options there, as they made very clear. Then next up, I had a look at a couple of sculpture trails, which are annual ones in the outdoors that come up every year in the city, so they're always kind of worth a look. I mean, they involve modern art, so some of the artworks are rather abstract and it's difficult to interpret what they're supposed to mean, but some are quite clear as well. But also in both cases there was information provided online in one form or another, which really helped to add context to them and help me understand what I was looking at and what the intention of the artist was, which was good. So the first trail I looked at was the Frieze Sculpture Trail in Regent's Park, so stunning surroundings already, never mind the beautiful artworks you might see. And they had an interactive map on their website as you went around, so you could click on each item and bring up an audio track where a narrator told you a bit about the artist and the artwork, and then often you would hear from the artists themselves as well, which was nice. So there's a lot of nice stuff in that trail. It's finished now. It's only on for a month, from 20th of September to 29th of October. But there were various things in there, including a huge piece of colourful fabric that looked like it was caught in the wind, a pedestal with a model of a human ear and a pool of water on it, a column covered in moss, a couple of ducks facing each other, a huge colourful rocket ship style totem pole. There was a man sleepwalking in just his underpants that looked very realistic. There was the Grim Reaper. There was a figure that looked like it was made out of long twisted balloons, like the type of balloons that children's party entertainers make balloon animals out of. And there was a series of small plant containers that spelt out "My Body, My Choice." And there was also an augmented reality piece where you had to scan a code and use your phone to make the image appear on this box in front of you, which kind of worked, although as I kind of walked to move around it to explore it in 3D, it did drift off the box a little bit, but it was an interesting little gimmick. So yeah, it was quite a variety of artworks, and obviously it was lovely to walk around the park to check them all out, so that was good. And then the other trail I saw was Sculpture in the City, which is in its 12th edition this year, and it basically has sculptures spread around the streets in the financial district, so you're kind of near the Gherkin and other big buildings like that. And I started at Liverpool Street and followed the kind of loop that went around this area following the map, which was very clear on their website. You could also use the Bloomberg Connects app to explore the trail as well, again with a map, and if you clicked on various items you could read details about it, and sometimes there was a video or audio track to accompany it. The only problem I found with that was that I wanted to kind of switch out of the app to use my camera quite a lot to take photos of everything, and I found that when I was switching back into the Bloomberg app it was often resetting itself, so I had to search for the trail again and find my place. So I kind of gave up on that really and just used the map from the website, which was a bit of a shame. Would have been nice to look up more details that way, but there were big panels next to each of the sculptures as well. For both the Frieze Trail and the Sculpture in the City Trail, I was taking pictures of all the panels with the descriptions, so in my photo album I can see the descriptions as well. So the app could have been better, but otherwise it was nice again to look at all the different artworks on the Sculpture in the City Trail. There are a couple of small decorative nests high up in a tree, which were hard for me to find at first, but I did locate them because there are images on the website on the app that helped me to see what I was looking for. And there was a large red transparent box with another transparent box nested inside it. There was a big megaphone on a pole. There was very colourful artistry underneath a couple of staircases, a ceiling projection showing things like trees and water and stuff, and there was a life-size sculpture of a traditional English grain store that had kind of been beaten up a bit as well and had kind of shiny colours on it. And I quite liked the fun spin on memorial bench plaques that said "in loving memory of," but it had things like "in loving memory of a loving memory," or "in loving memory of a bench, not this bench but another one," or "in loving memory of navigating an awkward silence," and things like that. So that was quite fun. Some were kind of amusing amusing and some are more thoughtful. So yeah, a nice variety of different sculptures, something for everyone on that trail. And then finally, for my cultural outings this month, I spent Halloween afternoon with my friend / colleague Emily Davison from Fashionista, and we went for a Gory Stories Halloween tour at the Old Royal Naval College in Greenwich. I must go and have a proper look around at some point. You know, I've been to the Painted Hall there before, but I need to look around the actual college itself, all the different exhibitions they got there. But yeah, it was a fun tour, hearing stories about Henry VIII and old seamen from the time and pensioners, things like that, and some of the kind of gory stories, as I say, about, you know, murders and executions and things. And ghosts. I mean, I don't believe in ghosts, but, you know, I enjoy kind of the mythology of that kind of thing for those kind of stories. So yeah, that was a fun little tour. It lasted about 45 minutes to an hour, and we had a little bite to eat at Bill's restaurant afterwards, which we're also going to go to for our Christmas meal as well, because we saw while we were in there their Christmas menu looked very tempting, so we've booked that up. So yeah, again, nice little afternoon out. The weather held out for the tour at least. It was actually nice and sunny, had a little bit of rain later, and it's a lovely campus to walk around too. So yeah, it was good. We enjoyed that. So then moving on to a few bits of entertainment to finish with as usual, and of course Doctor Who is the big thing for me at the moment because of the 60th anniversary coming up, which I'm really looking forward to, and I've successfully avoided spoilers about, which is good. You know, I know that David Tennant and Catherine Tate are coming back, and relatives of Donna Noble are going to be coming back as well, obviously because of Catherine Tate's return. But I don't know any of the stories, haven't seen any trailers, anything like that, so I'm looking forward to going into it as fresh as possible, even though I know it'll become harder and harder to avoid in the run up to it. But yeah, looking forward to all that and some of the other bits and pieces that have been on the TV and radio already and that are coming up. So I'm looking forward to celebrating that. But in the run up to it, I've already been celebrating by reviewing the early series of the reboot since it came back in 2005. So I've seen Christopher Eccleston's series 1, and then I've been watching the David Tennant era, series 2 and 3 I've written long reviews about before, and now this month I've watched and written a long review about series 4, which features Catherine Tate alongside David Tennant, and it's a brilliant series. I'm not a fan of Catherine's sketch show, as I said, but that doesn't really showcase her skills as an actress. She is incredible and exceeds expectations in series 4. You know, she's great throughout the whole series, but particularly near the end with episodes like Turn Left and the finale, she really kind of peaks, and when she becomes the Dr. Donna, she's excellent. And it just makes her ending all the more heartbreaking, of course, even more so than Rose's ending was, because at least Rose can remember what she did, whereas Donna can't remember any of it, which is really sad. I mean, it makes sense for the story, and it just shows how brilliant the writing and acting is, that we care about Donna that much, that we do feel so upset by what's happening to her. But it is devastating for her, so it's going to be interesting to see how they deal with that in these 60th anniversary specials. And before I get to those 60th anniversary specials, I'm also going to watch and review David Tennant's final specials as the 10th Doctor. There's only a few of those, so I should get through those fairly quickly. I've already started writing about those anyway. And then in terms of comedy, I'm still enjoying Taskmaster, of course, and I've also finished watching the first 3 series of Taskmaster New Zealand on the Channel 4 website. That's very good. First season is finding its feet, and not amazing, but fairly good still. But series 2 and 3 have certainly been very funny, so I've enjoyed them. And hopefully series 4 of the New Zealand version will also appear on the website soon, so I'll watch that as well. And Have I Got News For You is back too. That's always fun. The Bill Bailey episode was quite fun this time because he managed to get Ian and Paul up dancing to the bagpipes, which is quite unusual. You don't often see them out of their seats on that show. So yeah, it's been another good series, obviously with the more sensitive main story at the moment. They can't really say too much about that. They've treated that very delicately and quite rightly too. But yeah, there's plenty of other things they can poke fun at, especially with politics and things like that at the moment. And talking of Have I Got News For You with Paul Merton, I also listened to him presenting Room 101 on BBC Sounds this month. This was originally broadcast on Radio 4 earlier in the year, but I've only just got around to it now because it's been one of those things that's been on my to-do list for a while. And Room 101 is, of course, the show where people can argue to have their pet hates consigned into oblivion. And this originally used to be a radio show, so it's taking it right back to its roots. You know, Nick Hancock originally presented it as a radio show, then it made the transfer to TV. Paul Merton took over after a little while, and then Frank Skinner took over, and that's when the format changed to have 3 guests per episode instead of 1. So this is taking it right back to the start, and Paul Merton was the very first guest on the original radio show, so it's very appropriate that he's hosting this version now, as well as the fact that he's hosted the TV version. So he's a very good host. They're very funny shows. He chatted to Claudia Winkleman, Desiree Birch, Steph McGovern, Mark Steele, Phil Wang and Julian Clary in these episodes. And Mark and Julian were the funniest, I found, although they're all good in their own way, and I usually agreed with 1 or 2 choices in each episode, so I enjoyed listening to those. It would be nice if they do more series of that. And if you followed me for quite a long time, you'll know that some years back I did a Room 101 post about my visually impaired frustrations, like cars parked on the pavement, stuff like that. So I'll link to that as well if you want to go and see that, because A, you might agree with some of it, and B, it was a very popular post at the time, so I hope you enjoy that if you have a look at that as well. And that is it. That is the end of my little roundup for this month. So I hope you found that enjoyable and interesting as per usual. November's looking pretty quiet, really. I've got one comedy show booked that I'm going to see with a friend, but otherwise the month's my own. So it'd be nice to just do things as and when I feel like it. Obviously, there's Christmas lights coming out, so I'll be going to see some of those if I can. And there might be 1 or 2 museums I go to. I don't know what's going to happen yet. December's looking busier. I've already got a few things booked for then because of Christmas, of course. So I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah, November's going to be nice and relaxing. Obviously, Doctor Who's the big thing, but there are a few other things I want to kind of watch and listen to as well. So yeah, there'll be stuff to talk about next month. There always is. So yeah, I hope you're having a good time too, whatever you're up to. If you are affected by some of the events going on in the world at the moment, then I wish you all the best as well. And yeah, that's all I've got to say, really. Nothing else to add at the moment. So yeah, take care of yourselves. Hope you keep having fun. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe as per usual. And I will see you for another video very soon. Bye for now.